Hello class, and welcome to Unit 1, Video 6. Today we're going to look at matrices and how to add and subtract them, as well as multiply them by a scalar. So your learning target for today is that you can add and subtract matrices, and you can multiply a matrix by a scalar. Okay, so what is a matrix? A matrix is an arrangement of numbers called elements in rows and columns. Okay, so a matrix may look like this. So it's a bunch of numbers, okay, in rows and columns. So number 2, that would be an element. 3 is an element. 6 is an element. Each one of these individually is what we call an element. And then this would be a row. So I have 2 rows. And the downward, this would be my column, just to get an idea. All right, so that's what a matrix would look like. Order is the size of a matrix. Matrices can come in all different sizes, so we always need to state the order. So we record it as the number of rows by the number of columns. So if I look here, how many rows do I have? I have 2 rows by 3 columns. So this is a 2 by 3 matrix. That would be the order, or the size of the matrix. So example 1. It says below is an example of a matrix. Okay. And it wants us to say which element is in the location. So R3C1. So for this case, it wants row 3, column 1. So these are my rows. So this is R1, this is R2, this is R3. And this is my column. So this is column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. This is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so we want row 3, column 1. So row 3, column 1 would be right here. So my element is 3. Now I want row 1, column 4. So here's row 1, column 4, be element 2. Finally, it wants to know what is the order of this matrix. So remember, to figure out order, it's row by column. And for this situation, we have 3 rows, so it's 3 by, we have 4 columns, 3 by 4. So this is a 3 by 4 matrix. Now we're going to get into adding and subtracting matrices. You guys are going to enjoy adding and subtracting matrices because it just takes you back to being able to do old school addition. Okay, so to be able to add 2 matrices together, they must be the exact same size, meaning both matrices must have the same order. So looking at the order for example 2, okay, the first one, there's 2 rows and 2 columns. So this is a 2 by 2. And the next one, it's a 2 by 2, so 2 by 2. Are they exactly the same size? Yes. So now I can add them. So this is where it gets to the point where you like it. Okay. Wherever they're in, they have to be in the same spot. You just add those together to get our new matrix. So we have 2 plus 6, which gives me 8. Then I would have 5 plus 3, which gives you 8. Then I would have 1 plus 2, which gives me 3. And lastly, 4 plus 1 gives you 5. And so here is my new matrix in my solution to example 2. Okay. Same thing with subtraction. As long as they're the same size, you can go ahead and subtract them. So let's just check our sizing, or the order is what we call it. This has 3 rows and 2 columns, so this is a 3 by 2. This has 3 rows and 2 columns, so this is a 3 by 2. So they are the same size, so now I can go ahead and add them together. So I go ahead. And maybe I'm going to write this one out a little bit more. It'd be 9 minus 6. Then I would have negative 3 minus 2. Then I would have 5 minus 7. Okay, there's my first column. We'll have to simplify. And then I'll have 2 minus 3, 0 minus 4, and 1 minus a negative 3. So this is how we do the subtraction, same way as addition, just got to be a little careful with our negative signs. And now we just simplify. 9 minus 6 is 3, negative 3 minus 2 is negative 5, 5 minus 7 is negative 2, 2 minus 3 is negative 1, 0 minus 4 is negative 4. This is really going to become addition, so I would have 4. So here would be my solution to my matrix for example 3. Okay. The next thing we need to look at is how to multiply by a scalar. Okay, so if I have matrix A, then if you notice, if I have 2A, that's really the same as taking A plus A. Okay, so if I take A plus A, I would get the following matrix. Okay, we want to look at how could you get 2a without using addition. Okay, think about it. How would you go from here to here if I wanted to get 2a? Well, notice 3 times 2 is 6, negative 2 times 2 is negative 4, 4 times 2 is 8, and 7 times 2 is 14. So all you have to do is if you have 2a, you just multiply it by the scalar, and the scalar in this case is 2. So how would we do it? You would do it by multiplying each element by 2. And then just remember 2 is the scalar. That's what 2 is. All right, so let's go ahead and actually do some multiplication by a scalar in example 4. Example 4, we have matrix A. They're saying find 3a. Okay, so if I want to find 3a, all I have to do is take each number and multiply them by 3. So 2 times 3 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times negative 1 is negative 3, 3 times 6 is 18. So there's my first row. Now I take it to my next row, my second row. So 3 times 8 is going to give me 24. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Moving on, I would have 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 7 is 21. And lastly, 3 times 9 is 27. So here is matrix 3a. Okay. All right. We're going to do some practice problems. There's going to be 4 of them. So if you have any questions on adding, subtracting, or multiplication scalar, now would be a good time to maybe pause the video and write down your questions. And if you need to take a break, you could take a break. Otherwise, let's go ahead and move on to our practice problems. We want to work out all of the following where possible. So I have matrix B, D, E, and F. Okay, so 1 says we have to add D and E. So looking at D and E, I have to check, are they the same size? This is a 3 by 3. And this is a 3 by 3, so since they are the same, I can add them. So let's go ahead and do so. I would have 1 plus 1 is 2, 4 plus 1 is 5, 8 plus 1 is 9. That's my first column. 3 plus 4 is 7, negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1, 7 plus 2 is 9, 4 and 4 is 8, 5 and 3 is 8, negative 9 plus 2 is negative 7. Okay, so that would be my answer for practice problem 1. Practice problem 2, a little bit trickier. It wants us to take 2b plus f. So first of all, can I add b and f? Well, b is a 1 by 3 matrix and f is a 1 by 3 matrix, so they're the same, so I can. But I don't want just b, I want 2b. So let's figure out what 2b is first. Just going to take and multiply by a scalar. So I would have 6, 30, and negative 16. Okay, so that's 2b. And I'm just going to write down f. So it's recopying it from above. All right, we want to add these two together. So I would have 6 plus 12, which is going to give me 18. 30 plus a negative 4, it's going to give me 26. And negative 16 plus 16 is 0. So there is 2b plus f. That would be my solution. Okay. Moving on to example 3. We want to take f minus b. And I'm just going to write this one out to make life a little easier for us. So f is 12, negative 4, and 16 minus b. So it's 3, 15, negative 8. So I would have 12 minus 3, which will give me 11, or sorry, that will give me 9. Negative 4 minus a negative 15, so it's going to be negative 19. And lastly, 16 minus a negative 8, so it's really going to be 16 plus 8. 16 plus 8 will give me 24. So my final answer is 9, negative 19, 24. All right, and our last one. If you'd like, I would recommend pausing the video and trying this one on your own. Okay, so hopefully you pause the video and tried it on your own. Let's go ahead and figure this one out. I'm going to first find negative 3e. Okay, well maybe I want to check, can I even add e and d together or subtract them? So they're both 3 by 3, so yes, I can. So I'm going to find negative 3e. Negative 3e will equal negative 3, negative 3, negative 3, negative 12, just multiplying all of them by negative 3. Okay, so there's negative 3e. And I want to subtract d. So maybe I'm going to write this out. So this is negative 3e. I'm going to write that above here. Minus, now we're going to subtract d. So just rewriting. 1, 4, 8, 3, negative 4, 7, 4, 5, negative 9. Okay, and I'm going to erase this piece here because we wrote above that this is negative 3e, and then this part right here is d. Okay, so I would take negative 3 minus 1, which gives me negative 4. Negative 3 minus 4 gives me negative 7. Negative 3 minus 8 will give me negative 11. Okay, and that's going to be my first column of my matrix. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my second column. Negative 12 minus 3 will be negative 15. Negative 9 minus a negative 4, so negative 9 plus 4 will give me negative 5. Then I will have negative 6 minus 7 gives you negative 13. Negative 12 minus 4 gives you negative 16. Negative 9 minus 5 will give me negative 14. And lastly, negative 6 minus a negative 9. So negative 6 plus 9 will give me 3. So here is my solution to this problem. Okay. All right, so that's going to go ahead and end our video on matrices. If you have any questions, please write them down. Please come and ask. Otherwise, have a great day. See you later.